Hey everybody, my name is Brian Pirrip, and I have a lot of interests across a wide variety of hobbies and activities, like for instance, piano. I love playing piano. In fact, for people that know me very well, music has been a far bigger part of my life than any other kinds of hobbies. I've spent more time doing music and producing and writing and creating music. I also love racing cars, fast cars. Have a lot of different interests, but trading cards have been particularly a big part of my life the last 3 years since I started the company Mint that I'm currently running and working on every day. And so over the last, I've been a collector since I was about 8 years old. There's about 10 years from age of 14 to or longer than 10 years, but it was from age 14 to age 30, I didn't really collect. And then from 30 until now, I've been a much more serious collector. And then the last 3 years that I've been doing content on the social media platforms, I've been way more into trading cards. And I've had a great time. People would always tell me, oh, are you sure you want to do content around cards? You might not like cards anymore. This might actually kill your interest in collecting cards. And actually, I've discovered that I've had a great time with it. And I've actually liked cards probably more now. It's changed, it's evolved. Even what I collect is now different. But I had shared with you guys about my collection on social media last week and kind of teased a little bit about my personal collection, and it seemed like all of you really enjoyed hearing about it, and so I thought I would go more in depth. I don't really do the long form content thing like this. I tend to do the shorter kind of vignettes. But so let's get at it. Let me show you what my collection is, and I would love to hear your questions or comments or thoughts or what you guys collect, what you guys like. But this is what I like. And so what I have is I had a lot of big black boxes before that were on the counter with me last week. And those, I misspoke, those are not my singles, those are my sets. And so it's a lot of sets. So there's a lot of Hall of Famers from different years that I've collected, a few full sets. But these are the kind of the singles that I care about. And then some of my singles, like for instance, I'll just pop right to my, so all of my binders, so I've got these binders, these are Wilson Jones metallic binders, and I prefer the 1/2-inch ones, but unfortunately this company doesn't make them anymore. And so I only have 4 of them. I wish I had more of them, but these are, I like the 1/2-inch binders because it allows me to not have the cards crushing themselves. So this one's, you can still, I think, get 1-inch versions of these binders, but these are a lot of empty pages and such. But a lot of my cards are missing out of here because they actually are in mint cases. And so here is my page of the 1986 Fleer set of basketball, and here's my Michael Jordan that would go right here, but I pulled that card out to put it in a mint case. And so a bunch of my cards are missing right now, is what I'm saying. And so let's just go right to it. Here are my non-baseball. So everything else in here is pretty much, these are my baseball cards, these are my sports, other sports cards, and these are my Beckett magazines. And so here are my non-baseball sports. And so, yes, I pulled all of these out of graded cases. So sorry, graders, but that is what I did. These are my, so here we go, 1986. And it was a few years ago that I ended up buying all of these. Everyone loves the Michael Jordan, but I like the Clyde Drexler card the most. I think that is his very, very best photo. And as a lifelong Trailblazers fan, that is my all-time favorite basketball card. I love the Clyde Drexler basketball rookie card. So that one means a lot to me. But of course, everyone loves the Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson. So what I do is I select my top 9 favorite cards, or the 9 most impactful cards or good cards I've pulled. And so here's my 1987s with the Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Funny enough, I usually like to position the cards in the same way. So there, as you see, 86 Fleer, Larry Bird, and then 87 Fleer, Larry Bird, 88, and so on. So I tend to kind of collect them 9 favorite cards from every set. So I don't have any more 1986 Fleer cards than the ones you see right here. Same for 1987. Those are all the 1987s I have. Those are all the 1988s I have. Sometimes I don't really do that anymore, but I used to put stars next to cards that I actually pulled out of packs, but I haven't been doing the star thing for a while. I keep forgetting to do it. So those are my 1988s. And as you see, I love my Trailblazers. And I was a big Kevin Duckworth fan when I was a kid, because he actually lived on the same street as my elementary school in Beaverton, Oregon. His house was literally across the street from my school. And so he would come to the school periodically to say hi to the kids, but every day we'd have to drive by his house. And so Kevin Duckworth, may he rest in peace, was a favorite player of mine. And so that's his rookie card. But I always loved Terry Porter. So if I have a choice, I'll always put on a few Trailblazers, and Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, and Kevin Duckworth were my favorites. But so I put on some of the key guys. Here's my 1989s. And as you see, Terry Porter, Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey make it this time with Kevin Duckworth here. But I tend to put in like some of the rookies, like KJ, put his rookie card in there. Pulled that Michael Jordan out of pack. I remember doing that about 8 years ago. And then the 1990s. This was actually a really favorite set of mine because it was the first one that I actually had these cards when I was a kid. Not these exact ones, but I owned a few of these. I have no idea what happened to my 1990 basketball cards, but so this set is special to me because I didn't know about these sets when I was a kid. I didn't know about 86, 87, 88, 89. I did know about 1990. And so I actually was able to open a few packs of these when I was a kid. And so as you see, there's more Blazers on here, Danny Ainge and Cliff Robinson. May he also rest in peace. 1990 Hoops was a particularly favorite set because of the David Robinson card, particularly this one. But it had to have both David Robinson cards, and you're always going to see it. If I can sneak on a Duckworth, a Porter, a Kersey, I'm going to do that, but obviously I have to have the key guys. And then we go to 1991 Hoops. This has been a fun set to collect. I'm missing a couple of the key cards because I keep giving them away when I'm traveling around, handing out packs to people. But at some point, I need to put the Sam Vincent card in here, and at some point, I need to probably put the Menendez Brothers card in here just because it's such an iconic card. But I'd rather personally just keep putting my Blazers in there. Cliff Robinson, Kevin Duckworth, Terry Porter, Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey. And so those are my hoop cards, and I don't have any more. That's all the hoops cards I have. Like these, I put them in here, and whenever I have extra cards, people always, probably the question I get asked the most about my collection is, what do you do with the common cards? What do you do with duplicate cards? I don't have them. What I do is I put them into sandwich bags, and then I go to a Little League game and I give away all my cards that way. Or on Halloween, I'll go and give out cards to kids. But any duplicates I ever have, even fancy ones, I will give those away because I really want to keep my collection as small as possible. Not because of a clutter issue, but I find that it's kind of like if you have a collection of too many movies. It's actually hard to pick which movies you like and to select a movie to watch that night if you have too many of them. And I find that way with cards, is I thought, let me curate a collection that I actually really enjoy, which means I'll actually go through them more often, whereas if I had like endless quantities of cards, I would just never go through them at all. It'd be just overwhelming. So I curated a collection that I thought would remind me of happy days, remind me of pulling the cards whenever I've opened packs. And so it's a curated collection rather than a large collection. And I always want to keep my collection as small as possible because of that. And so I'll probably add one more binder to this, but it's probably not going to happen. This is probably going to be mostly it. And I do want to have my mint displays on the wall. But so those are my hoops. And then, of course, the Skybox set. That was such a landmark set back in the day, so had to have my favorite 9 cards from that. And then, if a lot of you ever watched it, I did a quest to go and find the Kobe Bryant rookie card out of a pack, and so I pulled all these cards across Las Vegas and the Southwest, and I pulled over on the side of the road. I remember finding that Allen Iverson, and so I was on the strip when I pulled I was on the top of the stratosphere in Las Vegas, tons of wind, and I remember opening a pack, and it was really hard to film because I was there by myself, and so I set up this little tripod, and I'm opening packs across Vegas trying to find Kobe's card, and I finally, on the top of the stratosphere, found the Kobe Bryant rookie card. So it reminds me of that day, and like Allen Iverson on the side of the road, and I think I found the Clyde Drexler at Hoover Dam. So a lot of my cards in my collection actually remind me, it's almost like a photo album. It's not only about the players, but it's about where I was when I pulled the different cards, or where I got the card, or where I traded for the card. And so this set, I love this set, 1996 Topps. I would love to open a box of Topps Chrome. Hopefully that happens someday. Those are extremely expensive boxes, but the Allen Iverson, the Kobe Bryant, the Steve Nash, those are their rookie cards, and Ray Allen, that's his rookie card. And yeah, so that's why I selected these cards for this, is that, yeah, it's the key rookie cards, also my favorite basketball player from back in the day, Clyde Drexler. And, you know, you gotta have the iconic Dennis Rodman and Charles Barkley. So it's always about what are the key cards from the set, but who are also my favorite players? What are the big rookie cards? And so it actually takes me a little bit to select which ones I put in here. And then for 2012 Prism, I think I bought like 3 or 4 packs, and I took those to Europe, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I opened packs across London. And so I remember being in front of Big Ben, and I found, I think it was the Chris Mullins and the that card, I think I found the Allen Iverson. But so it's not that these are, I still want to open more packs of this, and I probably won't be able to find all the players that I would want to put in here, most notably Damian Lillard. So Damian Lillard's rookie card, which is my other favorite basketball card of all time, is 2012 Prism. And so I do hope to open a box of that and find his rookie card and put that in here, which I know that upsets a lot of people when I put, Prism is an expensive box. And so I find a Damian Lillard card and I put it in here, that's sacrilegious to a lot of people. But I don't care. This is how I like to collect. And so my Damian Lillard card will go right there and be kind of front and center when I finally find him, or I trade for him, or I come across it in some sort of cool, interesting way. That's where my Damian Lillard will go. Here are my, what are these, 2018 Prisms. As you saw, I opened a lot of Prism packs the other day trying to find the Luka card. I still don't have the Luka card. I don't have the Shai card. I don't have the, am I forgetting? Shai, Luka, and Trae Young. I used to live in Atlanta for a while, and I liked watching Trae Young play. I think he's fantastic. So I wanted to have his card on here. So clearly I need to open more packs of 2018 Prism until I get the cards I'm wanting. That's why I like this hobby, because it's a lifelong hobby. So many things I do, you kind of do it till it runs its course, and then you kind of get tired of it and you're overwhelmed with it, or you just don't want to do it anymore. But collecting cards has been something that I can even put it away for 6 months. I can put it away for a year. And when I come back to it, it feels fresh and interesting again. So it's not like I've collected, even from the age of 30 till now, which is 15 years, it's not like I was just collecting the whole time. I put it away for a period of time. I put it away for 6 months and be like, okay, I've spent way too much money on this or too much time. Let me go, pursue my other hobbies and interests. So it's a lifelong hobby. That's why I'm not in a rush to complete all of this. It's a time to do it. There we go. More Prisms each year. These cards at this moment don't mean a ton to me. These ones are just kind of packs that I've opened on various, going to card shops and quests. And of course, my football cards. I don't have very many. In fact, I only have a little bit, but these are packs that I've opened on the social media channel. And so there we are. That's all I have. These are my soccer cards. I did find the Erling Haaland card. I was very pleased about that. I actually opened this pack by myself at my storage unit. I realized that I had a couple extra packs of this set. And so I opened it and I was like, oh man, of course I didn't find it when I was filming. I was filmed all across England. I was filming and I found different, I opened all of these cards in England I remember being on the Thames when I found the River Thames, and I found the Fatih card, which I thought was cool, and that was a memorable moment. But the Erling Haaland card, I felt bad. I got back to the States. I was in my storage unit, and I realized I had like 2 packs left, and that card that I was chasing was in that pack. So that reminds me of my trip across England and kind of the summer of 2022, which was a great trip. So, and some more of my soccer cards. I opened these, I think, in Rome. I think I was standing outside the Colosseum in Rome when I found the Pepe card. And just a few, I opened different packs from different years, but obviously I need to, still gonna complete more sets. I think I got most of these cards when I went to the soccer game in San Diego and watched, I think it was Manchester City play Wrexham, and so went with a couple of friends to the game. And so some of the cards, the individual cards, they don't mean anything to me. Like, it's more about the set and seeing the difference from year to year. And obviously I don't have even 9 cards of this because I ended up giving away all of these on my travels. I met some guys in front of the Coliseum that got really into it, and so I ended up giving them all of my cards. So I'll have to open more at some point. But then I get into some kind of randoms, some just random sports cards. Like, I've had that Bo Jackson card forever. A friend of mine in Portland gave me these cards when I went to one of the card shops. This was from a friend in Florida who gave me a Michael Strahan autographed card. And so, sometimes I'll get cards that people have given me or whatever and put them into the binder. And I always thought those Michael Jordan 1989 Upper Decks were pretty cool, so that's why those are in there. And then I just have some randoms. As you guys saw, I just bought a bunch of packs of all the Bowman Chromes from a bunch of different years, and so I opened all of those packs, and eventually I will fill up these with all the Bowman Chromes. So that is that's my kind of non-sports. I know those were some baseball towards the end, but there you go. This is kind of more of a hodgepodge kind of collection of just random cards, but those are the non-baseball cards. So now to the actually first let me show you this. This is my Beckett magazines. So this final binder is all my Beckett magazines. Like this one. These are the only 2 that I ever had when I was a kid. The Mark Grace one and the Dave Justice. All the other ones I acquired kind of at different times, but these are my childhood Beckett's, so these are the 2 that I value most. And then I picked up these kind of later in life, and then a friend of mine, Eddie, gave me this Jose Canseco autographed Beckett, which I thought was pretty cool. And the one Beckett I bought when I was starting to finally get back into kind of more serious collecting. And then some reprints of the, I want to have this set someday, but somebody gave me a reprint set, and so I just put this in there. I don't know why. I don't know. See, it's a lifelong thing, right? You're trying to figure out what to do with your cards, and what I like about collecting is that it always feels like an evolution. You should have seen my collection like 10 years ago. It was like cardboard boxes and shoe boxes. And so one of the reasons I started my company Mint is that I was like, well, I don't want to just do binders. Some of my cards I want to actually have on my wall. Some of them I want to visually see them. And I don't want them just in a piece of plastic or some sort of a wooden frame or a picture frame. I wanted to actually make them like perfect, like very well protected, very UV protection and beautiful, and glass and steel. So that's why I started working on that company, because I want to kind of take the collections, bunch of them, out of the binders and onto the walls. So working on that every single day. But this is my Topps collection. And so, for instance, my Mickey Mantle 1957 was, in there, but now it's in a mint case. But there's my Ted Williams 57, my Sandy Koufax, my Roberto Clemente. I just love 1957. I actually do not have any cards before 1957. I don't have them. And so I want to work on those sets after, but these are kind of like, this is where I decided to really start, was 1957. I just thought this was a perfect set. So many great rookies in here, such great photography. I just love 1957 tops. As you see from 1958, I only have the Roger Maris rookie card. I bought that almost as soon as I started collecting. There was a day in China that I was I ended up buying that long distance. I was in China by myself in Hangzhou, China, working on a television show, and I was watching that on eBay, saw a great price, bought it, pulled it out of a graded case and put it in there. And so that actually reminds me of Hangzhou, China, and what I was doing in life at that time. It's a very challenging time, but it was also, so the Roger Maris, obviously he was, amazing Yankees hitter, goes down in history in the history books for his magical home run year, 1961. But to me, that is one of the greatest baseball cards ever. I just love the Roger Maris card. And so as soon as I was able to afford it, I bought it, and I'm very grateful to have that. Love that card. That's gonna go into a mint case. That's a matter of time. As you see, don't have any from 59 or 60, but I do love 1961. This was my first Mickey Mantle card I ever bought, and so it's a little bit rough, and it's off-centered, and the corners are rounded, but it was the very first one I ever bought, and so that Mickey Mantle is special to me. 57 Mantle is my favorite, but the 1961 is just, it was the first one I owned. And Willie Mays just passed, I think, day before yesterday. That was very sad. He lived a beautiful life, and one of the greatest ball players of all time. So that's my earliest Willie Mays card. And then as you see, from kind of going forward, I'm gonna have a lot of Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Clemente, Mickey Mantle, Sandy Koufax. And then I tend to put the rookie cards down at the bottom. For some reason, I tend to put the most important card in the middle, rookies at the bottom. That's not entirely true, but that's just generally how I tend to collect, with some of the classics kind of around the edges. And so those were my 61s. I only have one 62 card of Gaylord Perry. It's not even a great card. I just found it somewhere at a flea market and bought it. I was never a huge fan of the 62 set, so I haven't really worked on it. 63, I'm gonna put the Pete Rose right there when I get a chance, but I haven't put too much effort into 63, 1964. Great set. I always liked the 1986 tops, and so the 1964s always, just felt like this is what a baseball card should look like. And then we go into 65 with, I picked up this, the Tony card in Atlanta. I picked up the Steve card. Actually, I don't remember. I'd have to look. I tend to write down where I found a specific card. And Willie, of course, up at the top. And then 66, I know I got that in San Diego. Like, I remember where I was. I remember my friend Colin and I, we had just signed a deal with our first television contract in this kind of new era in around 2017. And I went right to the card shop in Beverly Hills, and I bought this Jim Palmer rookie card to kind of commemorate the experience. And so that reminds me of hanging out with Colin in Beverly Hills and buying that after we had just signed a television contract, which was a pretty special experience. I always liked the Sandy Koufax card, even that's his last rookie or his last card, but I just think any Koufax card, any Mantle card is going to be a great card. 1967, you got the Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, of course, Pete Rose, and I always thought this Ernie Banks card was just such a positive, it's cool vibe. I like how the kind of the symmetry of the bat and his autograph, and so that, funny enough, that's actually my favorite 1967 card is the Ernie Banks card, but that's a classic Mantle, classic Roger Maris. And then it kind of, that's where, a lot of my collection is sparse as far as these kinds of eras. I do want to complete all these sets. Like, that's the thing, is I was like, why am I going to go and complete a whole set of like 1961 tops? Like, where am I going to put all those cards, and how am I going to organize them? How am I going to go through them? And so that's when I decided to only collect 9 cards from every set. There are some sets, like the ones you saw in the black boxes, that I have a lot more cards of different sets, but you know, it's not going to mean a lot to me if I just collect, you know, a bunch of. I wanted to keep a more trim collection, so I decided 9 cards every set, done. And so I still need to finish these. But from here on out, we have the complete kind of sets. So 1968. I also got this Nolan Ryan in China, or at least I ordered it in China. That was a card I had wanted for ages. Who doesn't love the 1968 Nolan Ryan Jerry Koosman card? It's so classic, so iconic. And I remember running through the streets, running through the subway of, I think it was Shanghai, China. Yeah, it was still in Hangzhou, China. And I was running through the streets trying to find Wi-Fi because I had been tracking this eBay purchase for like a week. And I did not want to miss out on this. It was, I pulled that out of a PSA 8 off-center case. And I'd been watching it, and the price was so right, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna own a Nolan Ryan rookie card. And so this particular Nolan Ryan rookie card will remind me of, you know, obviously it's Nolan Ryan, you know, in my opinion, the greatest pitcher of all time, and I think the guy's amazing. If you guys have not seen the movie Facing Nolan, go and watch that movie, stream that movie. And Facing Nolan is a remarkable movie about the greatest pitcher of all time, who also threw the fastest pitch of all time. So, and you know, I'm sure people can argue that, but that's my take on it, based on, and I just love that movie. So Nolan Ryan, love that card, love the set. Something about the colors of this set. I didn't think I was gonna like this set as much until I started collecting them, and then I was just like, okay, this is the set for me. So 1957 tops, and then 1968 are kind of my 2 favorites of the vintage. Just love this set. Still need to get that. Man, I need that Tom Seaver. I'm gonna put the Tom Seaver right here, and I'm gonna put the Rod Carew right there. Still need to get those. I haven't found, like, see, that's another thing, is I like cards that look like they came out of packs. That's why I tended to buy, whenever I would buy graded cards to pull the cards out and put in here, I usually went after like 6s, 7s, and 8s, because to me, 6s, 7s, and 8s felt like they looked like they had come out of a pack. So I didn't care if there was a centering issue, like obviously this Nolan Ryan is pretty off center, but everything else about the cards, very sharp corners, very great colors, a great eye appeal to it. Whereas, so it wasn't important to me to pull 9s and 10s out of cases. And I also think that you know, I do care about value. A lot of people think I don't care about value at all. I do. And so the idea of pulling a 9 or a 10 out of a case and putting it in my binder does feel a little bit wrong. And so I like it where it feels like I took it right out of a pack and put it in here. And so most of these are like 5s, 6s, and 7s. And so I like it where the card doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to look like it came out of a pack, and that it was, you know, what I tend to like most as far as the qualities of a card are the 4 sharp corners. I tend to think of that, and the eye appeal. If the card has sharp corners and a great eye appeal, then that's a card for me. So I've never cared if a card had gum stains. I actually always thought the gum stains were cool. I don't know if I have any here to kind of see, but the gum stains never bothered me, because I always felt that was kind of, I don't know, it gave the card some character, I guess. So it never was important to me to have like pristine 10, you know, perfect cards. I wanted them to look like they were out of a pack, and that's what all of these are. So 1969, what a magical year for cards. I mean, geez, the Nolan Ryan card, but you have the last card of Mickey Mantle. Someday I hope to have the one with the white letters, just because it's kind of the special variation, but I'm pretty happy with this one. The Reggie Jackson rookie card, what a player. I actually got a chance to meet Reggie Jackson and shake his hand and talk to him at an event for Derek Jeter about a year and a half ago. And so that card now means more, because I actually got to hang out with Reggie Jackson. It was a pretty special day. And it's nice when Derek Jeter introduces you to Reggie Jackson. So pretty special moments in life. Obviously, Raleigh Fingers, Johnny Bench. I like his All-Star rookie card a lot more than his actual rookie card. I just think the cup and the full picture, that's the best Johnny Bench card in my opinion. Still have the Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Pete Rose. I always like to have that kind of system. And again, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Pete Rose, Nolan Ryan, and great Ernie Banks card. Brooks Robinson, always liked that card of him, and the Thurman Munson rookie card. 1970, cool set. I used to like it a lot more. I kind of fell a little bit out of love it, especially when I started getting into 71, because 1971 Topps is phenomenal. Steve Garvey reminds me of childhood because my next door neighbor, his mom had that card, and Kelly Henry had that card. And I remember thinking, wow, that's such an ancient card, you know, because I started collecting in 1987, 88. And so I remember my neighbor Kelly, Jesse's mom, she had the Steve Garvey card from 1971. And I was just like, wow, that's so cool. It was like ancient history to me at the time. Blyleven rookie card. Of course, who doesn't love the Thurman Munson second year card? That is a flawless action shot. It's the black design of the borders. Yeah, it's really hard to get this set in good condition. Most of these are 5s and 6s. I think one of them's a 7. I think the Nolan was a 7. The Ernie Banks, somebody gave this to me, so it's actually in pretty poor condition, but it reminds me of a friend of mine. So, and what a great shot of Ernie Banks. Love 71. Like, if there's a great set from 1970s baseball, this is it. 1971 Topps. It doesn't get better than that, in my opinion. A lot of people love 1972, though. For me, it's 1971. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like 1972 as most people do. I do like the Carlton Fisk rookie card. I always thought that was such a great card. And I traded for that card at a card shop in Washington State, like 13 years ago. I went into this card shop. I had a bunch of like duplicates of different things, and I went in there and I was like, I will give you all of this. Just take it all. Can I get that Carlton Fisk? And so they gave me the deal, and so it reminds me of that. 1973. What a great set. This is also a great set. Primarily because of Roberto Clemente. This is his final card, or his final, he had just died. So there's something magical about that card and the way he's looking away. And so a lot of card collecting is about the image. It's about it's the colors. It's the it's the graphic design. It's and this card's perfect. The Roberto Clemente card with the timing of his death, and it almost feels like a memorial card. It wasn't probably intended to be that, but it feels like that to me. And this was my dad's favorite player. And Roberto Clemente, as most of you know, he was a great guy. He was a humanitarian, and he was a great player and a great person. So that card, I really love that one. And of course, who doesn't love the Mike Schmidt rookie card? That I remember pulling that out of a 7, and I'd also picked that up when I was in Asia. At least I bought it in Asia, and I was so excited to land back in Atlanta and get that Mike Schmidt. And because I worked at Mike Schmidt building at Nike for the time that I was there, and so every day I would go to the Mike Schmidt building, and so kind of reminds me of that time period. Also, great Pete Rose card. The Hank Aaron card is great. Here we go, 1974 Topps. And so a lot of people, so 74 Topps is my least favorite set out of the 70s. I just never really liked this set. Sorry. The Hank Aaron card, very cool. The all-time Home Run King card is very cool. It's a cool card, but I just didn't really like the set. You have the Dave Winfield rookie, and I put the Ken Griffey rookie in there just because. But not my favorite set, but you have to have them all. But the collection was also about having 9 cards from each set. And this is my 1975 Topps. I tend to collect, Hall of Famers and Hall of Fame rookies. And so I don't know, like if I opened some packs of Topps 1975 Topps Mini with my friend Ben a few months ago, and I butchered so many names, like Ray Fosse, totally butchered his name. I butcher a lot of names. It's because like in the time before I started watching baseball, I haven't really, read up too much on it except for the Hall of Fame players. And so I don't know a lot about the players from outside the Hall of Famers from these sets. I tend to focus on the Hall of Famers, their achievements, what they did, the teams they were playing on, what they accomplished. So like I do have Gary Carter, I have the Jim Rice, I have the Robin Yount, and I have my George Brett card, which would go here. That's in a mint case. So 1975, of course, super colorful. It's a very exciting set. But I have Hall of Famers and cards of players that I have studied or like from this time period. Yeah. 1976. Man, that Nolan Ryan card, that's got to be one of his best. It's just such a great shot of him. Of Hank Aaron, I believe that his last card, so had to go there. And then Dennis Eckersley's rookie card, great shot of him. Jim Rice, Gary Carter, I like the All-Star Cups. Anytime I see an All-Star Cup, it feels special. It just feels like, I like that logo. It's one of the great logos, and that's why I put the logo on the side of the actual binder, because I love the All-Star Cup. So that's 1976. And then into 1977, I was never a huge fan of 77. I so prefer 76 to 77, but I have opened a couple packs of this, and Dale Murphy card, very cool. Andre Dawson. So the rookies go on the bottom. Bruce Sutter, it goes on the bottom, and decided to put Willie Stargell in there. But 78, this set this one's great because I pulled all three of these out of a couple different, two different packs. I've only opened really 2 or 3 packs of 78 Topps myself. And the very, very first pack I opened was this Eddie Murray card, was like the 4th or 5th card in, and I about lost it. I about lost my mind. I was sitting in Atlanta, in Midtown Atlanta, and I bought one pack of this, and I was just like, okay, I'll be happy if I even just get like a single Hall of Famer in here. I'd be so happy. And I opened the pack, and I'm going through the cards, and there's this exact Eddie Murray card. And I just think the Eddie Murray rookie card is one of those kind of like iconic cards. It's just the framing, the layout of the card, the colors of the card. It's one of those perfect baseball cards. If I had a lot of you saw my top 10 list. If I did like a top 15, that would be in there. That is just a great card. The Alan Trammell and the Paul Molitor card, I actually traded for this also in Washington State on a road trip. And so it's just like, okay, I remember pulling out these cards. I remember where I was. There are always memories about either reading up on the different players or where I was when I found the card. And so I love the 1978. 1979, this is my birth year. So funny enough, I never really liked the set a ton. I wish I'd been born in 78 to match it up with such a great set. 79, I was never such a fan of, except obviously you have the Ozzie Smith rookie card I picked up in Phoenix about 15 years ago on a road trip when I was filming this one pilot, my very first pilot I filmed. I picked that up at a little card shop. Lou Brock, great player, great card. Pulled all those out of packs. Mike Schmidt. That is a great card. I wish that had been the rookie card from Paul Molitor. That's such a better card, I think, than his actual rookie card, where you just get one little kind of section of him. I think the 1979 was a much better card of his. So here we go. It's so weird to talk about these things. These are like, these are personal memories. These are the way I do things. It's just bizarre sharing all these kind of thoughts and memories with you guys. Now this is cool. I remember pulling the Yastrzemski card and the Nolan Ryan card out of a single pack. That was the very first pack I ever opened of 1980 Topps, and I got both in one pack, and that was a special moment. Obviously, the Rickey Henderson card is the card to have out of the set, and so as you see, a lot of times I'll put the kind of the main card from the set in the middle, but I'll put the main rookie card out in the corner. I don't know why I do that. That's just what I do. Great set, 1980. That's what a baseball card should look like. And the Rickey Henderson card, such an amazing player, best leadoff hitter of all time. He's just an amazing player. 1981. Never really liked this set. I didn't really like the hats. Some people love it. Some people love 1981, but I don't. The one cool thing out of it is you get a few, really cool rookie cards of Fernando Valenzuela, Tim Raines, Kirk Gibson, and of course Hall of Famer Harold Baines. But never really liked this set. This was one of those ones I'm like, okay, let me put the 9 cards together, and then we'll leave it. Whereas 1982, come on, fantastic set. It's great card of Ozzie Smith. I like how in the Topps traded set you get him in the Cardinals uniform for the first time, and so that is actually probably my favorite Ozzie Smith card because he's in his. That's Ozzie Smith right there. Cal Ripken, of course. I actually pulled this one out of a pack. I was sitting at my desk at Nike one day, and I was supposed to be doing work, but you know what? I had bought a box of 1982 Topps, and so I was like, okay, hey, I'm gonna wait. I had the box, I got it in the mail. I'm gonna wait to open the box when I get back to my place. I couldn't wait. I had to open a few packs at my desk, and I think it was like the 3rd or 4th pack, I found the Cal Ripken rookie card. And so, once again, reminds me of that time period. Crazy time period in life, but also had to put the Lee Smith and the Cal Ripken Topps traded card that I picked up at Baseball Cards Plus in Huntington Beach like 14 years ago. Had to have that card. And a lot of people are always like, oh, you say rookie card for a lot of cards. I think both of those cards are his rookie card. I don't know how else to say it. I think a player can have multiple rookie cards. I think the Topps regular and the Topps traded can both be considered his rookie card. I don't know if that's just me. 1983, what a landmark set. The design of this set was spectacular, but the rookie class, come on, Ryne Sandberg, Wade Boggs, and Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn should actually probably be here, Wade Boggs there, but the Wade Boggs card was the very first rookie card that I pulled out of 1983 Topps, and I pulled that in my dorm room in Cambridge, and I'll never forget it. I bought a box of Cello 1983 Topps, and I didn't get the Ryne Sandberg or the Tony Gwynn, but I got the Wade Boggs, and so that's why that card goes in there front and center. Obviously, love the Darryl Strawberry rookie, and traded some cards at the Beverly Hills Baseball Card Shop for that way back in the day, like 13, 14 years ago. And so a lot of these, I really did a lot of the 80s back in kind of 2009, 10, 11, 12. I got most of my 80s collection from that time period because all of a sudden there I was able to afford cards that I could never have when I was a kid. So the idea of having like a Darryl Strawberry rookie card when I was a kid was out of my mind. Who could do that? I couldn't do that. But when I was an adult at 30, 31, 32, I could finally get a Darryl Strawberry or a Wade Boggs or a Ryne Sandberg. So all of these are pulled out of packs, except obviously for the Darryl Strawberry, which came as Topps traded. And I like how the Topps traded, are differentiated by that kind of lighter colored card stock. And so it's nice to be able to see differentiated between like Topps traded and Topps, and then Topps traded and Topps. 1984, that was, man, what a great year as well. See, right in a row, 82, 83, 84, and then 85, 86. I mean, it's just the 80s. That was my time for baseball. I started, watching baseball in like 1988, 89. I went to my first baseball game, I think in 1988. It was a Dodgers-Giants game at Dodger Stadium. That was my first game ever. So this is, for me, this is when it really gets exciting for me, is when I, like all of these players, this is all ancient history, but these are the guys that I remember. These are the guys I remember watching and trying to get their cards. And so the Strawberry, the Mattingly, the Gooden, and see, I put the Sandberg, the Boggs, and the Gwynn. I I kind of did that from a design thing, just taking the 3 of them, and for 84, putting them 3 of them right there. So there's always a little bit of method to the madness, and color coordination, layout. In another life, I might have been a graphic designer because I enjoy layout. And so getting the right 9 cards in the right way just feels pretty great. 85 tops. And yes, that is that is Mark McGwire's rookie card. And what a rookie card it is. Such a great, iconic card. I could talk about that card for a while, but also I love the second year of Don Mattingly. Love the rookie card of Kirby Puckett, Roger Clemens, the Oral Hershiser, the Eric Davis. The Eric Davis, that is a particularly special card to me now because I think you guys probably saw this when I gave a rack pack to Eric Davis that I picked up, and he pulled his own rookie card out of a rack pack. And then he autographed it, and I gave him the card. I said, Eric Davis, this is your card. You pulled it out of the pack, it's yours. Because that's what I do. If you find a card with me, you keep the card. Eric Davis took the card, autographed it, and said, no, I want you to have the card. And so that card means a lot of being at spring training last year, meeting Eric Davis, and him finding that card and then autographing that card. So that right there is a pretty special card. So I would have said the 85 Mark McGwire is my favorite card, but now out of this set, it would be the signed Eric Davis card. What a good guy. 86 tops. This was the first set I remember having as a kid where I actually owned the cards from this set. And so 86, really, man, I can remember sitting in my bedroom back in Beaverton and coming across a few of these cards and just thinking, wow, man, I've made it. I own a couple cards of 86 Donruss. I didn't own any of these cards, but I had some cards. So 86 tops. What a special set. The tops traded, obviously, are the great cards, the Canseco, the Bonds, the Jackson, the Will Clark. But I think that is Don Mattingly's it's just such a perfect card of him. Love the 86 tops, Don Mattingly. Yeah, I'd actually probably say that's probably my favorite card from the set. But, you know, the Will Clark, Canseco, Bonds, Jackson. I could talk about the 86 tops set quite a lot. This is a special set. And of course, 87 tops. Everyone loves this set. This seems to be like a universally loved. And so this was a real struggle to pick, you know, top 9 cards from what I thought are my favorite cards from the set. And so I put them in this way. Yeah, always remembers, you know, that Canseco card reminds me of being at my next door neighbor's house, playing in, you know, Super Mario Brothers and Tecmo Bowl with my buddy Joey. And that reminds me of just really happy times in childhood. So it's not always about the players, you know. I keep going on about that theme. Like, yeah, loved watching Canseco hit home runs. Love seeing McGwire hit home runs. But there's something about the card itself that kind of just takes you back to a time in your life, innocent times, good times, or even challenging times. And so that Canseco time reminds me of some of those challenging times, actually. But what a great card. Or the Will Clark. I remember going and eating pizza in New York, and I found there was this candy shop in New York City that for some reason had some rack packs of 87 tops. I'm sitting there eating pizza at like 32 years old, and I opened some packs and I found that Will Clark card. So I got that in New York. 88 tops. Fantastic set, because I could afford to buy these cards when I was a kid. I can't entirely remember, but I think that Jose Canseco card was the very first card I ever owned. I remember my mom took me to a Fred Meyer's after I'd played a soccer game, and I saw, and I was able to pick up that Jose Canseco card after a game. Not this exact one. I have no idea what happened to the one I had back as a kid, but that Jose Canseco card just is instant transportation to the earliest time I was collecting, and same with this Cardinals card. My best friend when I was a kid, like when I was in 3rd, 4th grade, Chris, he had this card, and I remember him talking about it on the bus one day. That's kind of what got me into collecting, was probably this card and this card. And I remember my buddy Chris got on the bus and he had this Cardinals card, and he was telling me about Ozzie Smith and how great the Cardinals was. And that's what got me into card collecting, was probably that card, and then getting this card shortly thereafter with my mom. And so these are kind of like foundational cards for me. Sadly, I don't have the originals, but I went and picked those up, got those out of a box, and they just remind me of happy times, and I can instantly, cards just for some reason, I don't know if it's the smell of the cards or the colors or the pictures, but it's like what do you call it, a time machine, and it just can take you back. So it takes me back to times that I found cards, and takes me back to times that I first remember the cards. So, and I always loved the Don Mattingly shot, and of course, Mark Grace. 89 Topps. That the Mark Grace card, what a great card. I loved Mark Grace at this point. By 1989, hook, line, and sinker. This was my favorite baseball player. I had his poster and Jose's poster on my wall as a kid. Didn't know anything about Ken Griffey Jr. that year. It wasn't until the next year that I learned about him. But Mark Grace and Jose Canseco. So what's cool about this red star is that means it was actually from my original collection as when I was a kid. I don't have a lot of my original collection cards, but I do have the Don Mattingly and I have the Jose Canseco, and those were from my actual childhood collection. So they get the red star treatment, which is, I don't have very many. 1990s Topps. I always thought the Ben McDonald card was the cool card. I didn't know anybody that had the Frank Thomas. This was a more rare card, but to me at least it was. But the Ben McDonald card, everybody wanted a Ben McDonald card that year. And I thought that #1 draft pick logo was the cool one to have. But, I also liked the Jim Abbott, the Gary Sheffield, the Ken Griffey. And it wasn't until I was older that I finally found a Frank Thomas card out of a pack. When I was living up in Burbank at doing my pilot. That was a happy time, and pulled that out. And someday I hope to have the no name on the front. But that would go into a mint case. If I ever get the no name on front, boom, instantly that card would go into a mint case. Matter of time. My favorite cards from 1991 Topps. These ones are particularly cool because they are the Desert Storm cards. So Topps that year made these Desert Storm cards that were distributed to soldiers in the Middle East, American soldiers in the Middle East. And so I ended up getting a couple of those cards, and I have the Kevin Maas and the David Justice of it. Ben McDonald, this was from the original collection, so it was the Frank Thomas, but this is probably the more valuable Frank Thomas card from that set, but also put in the Chipper Jones and Jeff Bagwell to round out 1991 Topps. And then I didn't collect any in 1992. I don't know why I didn't do it in 92. I just never did. But then all of a sudden I started collecting 1993. I think there was like a period of like 6 months or a year where I just kind of put cards away, and I was more into playing soccer and being more involved in school or whatever. But for whatever reason, it goes to 1993 Topps, and this was actually my last year of collecting. So I didn't collect anymore after this until I was 30. And so I didn't know at the time. These two cards I actually pulled out of packs, and so the Tom Glavine and I really loved those gold Topps, black gold. That was so cool when I was like 13 or whatever, 14 years old. And so those were the last two cards I pulled out of packs. And then it wasn't until I was older and was able to figure out that, actually Derek Jeter, he's this great player, and I have his his gold variation and a couple of the gold variations, Ken Griffey and the Topps black, and of course the Trevor Hoffman rookie, the Piazza rookie, and the Chipper Jones. So those are all the Topps cards that I own. That is it. That's my Topps collection. Which, if I could only keep one of the collections in here, it would definitely be this binder of all my Topps cards. And if I had to run out of the house and everything was burning, and I could take one thing that was, obviously I'd take my computer, which has if you think my baseball card collection is organized, you should see my photo library. I'm very organized with my music collection, my photo collection. I'm meticulous about it, and I love collecting my photos. So the most valuable thing in my life to me personally, from a thing perspective, would be, if I could only keep one thing, it would be my journal. if I could keep a second thing, it would be my photo collection. And then the third thing would be my Topps collection. So those are my three most valuable things I own, are my Topps collection, my journal that I've kept every day for the last 21 years, and my photo collection. So that's my Topps collection. Second, actually it should probably be this one. So what am I doing? This would be the next binder, and this is all about Donruss and Flair. So that's why I put the Rated Rookie logo on the side, is that this is my collection of Donruss and Flair. And so it starts with 1981 Donruss. This is such a weird set. Like, there's multiple variations of different players within the set. The photos aren't particularly fantastic. There's a lot of kind of image distortion, some, I forget the name for it, but kind of it's just off. I can't really say I like 1981 Donruss, but it was the first year of Donruss, and so I had to have the cards from the set. And because I'm a Blazers fan, I had to put the Danny Ainge card in there, along with Tim Raines. 1982 Donruss. Never really liked this set either. I did not really like 82 and 83 Donruss, and people always say, why do you call it Donruss? And I call it Donruss because Donald and Russ, I think it was, Donald and Russ made Donruss. So it makes sense to me to call the company, the founders of the company were Donald and Russell. And so they came together, put their names together, and so that's why it's called Donruss, and that's why I pronounce it Donruss. So 1982 Donruss is all about the Cal Ripken. That's the card that matters, and that's the one card I like from the set. And the other cards, they're great, and it was fun to put them together. I like putting the 9 pages together. I remember exactly where I was when I did this, and I was back in Portland living in the Pearl District. But the Ripken is the card worth having. 83 Donruss, same thing. Don't really like this set all that much. This was all about making the collection. And so even though Sandberg, Boggs, and Gwynn have their rookie cards, I just didn't really like the set that much. However, when you get into 1984, bam, Donruss finally got it right, and this set is just perfection. The photos right, the players, the Mattingly rookie card, the Strawberry rookie card, these are such, that Mattingly alone makes this set special. But also just the photos, I think that Cal Ripken picture is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Ripken card. 1984 Donruss was a joy to collect, to put together. Opening, I did put the whole set together. I ended up giving away all the cards from it, but I kept my favorite 9. So those are my top 9. And then 1985, actually, no, I do still have some of my cards from 84 in the set boxes. So 1985 Donruss, wow, these are great cards. I actually think that's Oral Hershiser's best card, coolest card. That is like the quintessential Oral Hershiser. Clemens, fantastic. Because the 1984 Flair card is so good of Roger Clemens, I think it kind of takes away from his other cards, but that's such a great shot at him. It's a cool shot. Kirby Puckett, great rookie card. Strawberry, Eric Davis. 85 Donruss, I can't say anything bad about it. This is a very fun set. This was one of my favorite sets ever. If I did a top 10 favorite sets of all time, 85 Donruss would definitely be on that list. 86 Donruss, everybody knows I love Canseco. That's the 86 Canseco, the Fred McGriff, the Andre Galarraga. This is just such a fun set. I think it's because this was one that I couldn't have as a kid, and I would read about, I'd read about 84, I'd read about 85, 86 in my Beckett magazines, but I didn't know anybody that had these cards. And so all of us neighborhood kids, we all had 87, 88, 89 tops. That's kind of what we were working with, I grew up very poor in Beaverton, Oregon, on kind of the wrong side of the tracks. And so none of us kids, we were kind of, out in the streets playing baseball, playing soccer. We didn't have money. We would put together lemonade stands, and we'd put together, try to get some money to then go to the card shop, but we didn't have allowances. That wasn't our thing. We would have to, if you're getting cards, it's because you're working for it. And none of us had the kind of cash or the know-how to be able to get these kind of earlier sets. And so when I see 86 Donruss, to me, this is still a special set, even though, I can afford it now, but back then I couldn't. And so pulling each one of those out of a pack was a special experience. 87 Donruss. This set is another perfect set. Man, what a great set. Come on, Maddox, Sierra, Palmeiro, Clark, Bond, Jackson. Great set. It takes me back to, getting in as an adult and starting to collect again and remembering where I was, like when I pulled a McGuire at Griffith Park, or, just I could go card by card, but then this would be an exceptionally long video. Mark Grace. So this is a fun story. So this set, not a great set, let's be honest. It is not a particularly great set. I think it's not a well-designed set. It kind of looks, there's a tacky element to it. But the Mark Grace card, the Mark Grace rookie card, just stands out on its own. I love this card. And when I actually went and met Mark Grace and opened some packs with him, I gave him the rookie card that I had pulled as a kid that I had in this binder. So Mark Grace has my original card that I pulled when I was a kid. I gave it to him after we opened packs. I said, here. I said, do you have your own rookie card? And he said he didn't. And so I said, well, here's one that I pulled back in like 1988. And so I gave him my Mark Grace card. And he was my favorite player when I was a kid. My favorite player later became Ken Griffey Jr., but when I was in elementary school, Mark Grace was my guy. So I gave that card to him. And then, I hope you guys have seen this video, but the video of Joe Jackson in Tennessee, in Johnstown, Tennessee, where I met up with Joe and we opened packs of 89 Upper Deck and gave him some of my cards. He actually, before I gave him some of my cards, he gave me one of his cards. And so that right there is Joe Jackson's Mark Grace rated rookie card that I had gotten on my road trip that I did with Sam back in the fall of 2021, looking for the Jeter, Ohtani, and Trout rookies. But I value that card after meeting Joe Jackson and having that wonderful kind of special experience that I'll never forget. And so Mark Grace has mine, and I have Joe Jackson's. And so that's 88 Donruss. 89 Donruss, this has been a real challenge because I've probably opened more packs of 1980 Donruss than any other set. I think this is my most opened set of anything I've opened. I've probably opened probably a case of this stuff worth. And I actually really struggled to pick what are my favorite 9 cards or the most impactful. I always loved the Kirby Puckett MVP and the Jose Canseco MVP. Something about this just, takes me right back. But there's the baseball best from 1989. And so I ended up putting in the baseball best of Ken Griffey and Sammy Sosa, and also the rookies of Griffey. So this is a really Griffey heavy kind of page, but what a great set. I remember pulling over on the side of the road in Tacoma, Washington, and opening a pack and finding that Ken Griffey Jr. card on a trip just before business school. And so that reminds me of that. Great time. Great players, man. Randy Johnson, big unit. What a guy. I like him in the Expos uniform, but he looks so perplexed. Grace looks really happy. I would love to know what was going through their minds. Grace is having a great day, and Randy Johnson perplexed. I wonder what he thinks. If I met Randy Johnson, the question I'd ask him is, do you remember when this photo was taken? And if so, what were you thinking? 1990 Donruss. See, I could afford that one when I was a kid. I'd go mow the ladies' lawn across the street and run down to the card shop and go and buy packs. And we all wanted the Juan Gonzalez reverse negative. So that's the reverse negative card. I didn't get that when I was a kid, got this as I was older, but this was the must-have card that year. Also, Todd Zeile and Ben McDonald. I still think these cards, I like the design. Sorry, I hate 1991 Fleer yellow design, but I love the 1990 Donruss I'm tired of opening these cards. I will probably never open packs of 1990 Donruss again. I'm so over opening these packs. But these 9 cards, they're special. And 1991. This was a fun, as soon as I see these pictures, boom, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of this one box of cards that my mother had. She bought me a box of 1991 Donruss, but I had to do nice things for people and different chores, and then she would give me a pack of them. And so it reminds me of that. But what Mom doesn't know is that I found the box at one point, and I went and I opened them all up, and I found that David Justice card, not the exact one, but I found a David Justice card. And so people have wondered, have I ever resealed cards and put them back in packs? I did then. I never have since. The only time I've ever resealed a pack, and it was so bad. I actually, like, so terrible. I was like, 9 or 10 years old or whatever, and maybe 11. And I had this box of cards, and after I'd opened it, and I was just wrappers everywhere, I tried to seal them up and put them back in. And Mom was probably wondering why I wasn't working as hard to do chores to earn packs, because I already knew what was in there. But I've never since sealed a pack. So, cool set. Dave Justice for me was everything that year. Dave Justice, Ken Griffey, Kevin Maas, Frank Thomas. I mean, those were the guys. Like, I didn't care as much about Bagwell back then. I didn't know Bagwell was going to be Bagwell until he was Bagwell. Before that, it was all about Kevin Maas. Kevin Maas, he was cool. He was the guy. He was the Yankee that was hitting the home runs until he wasn't. And then 1992, Todd Van Poppel, great rookie card. Todd Van Poppel seemed to always have great cards, and I like that one of him. But you also have the Mike Piazza, Manny Ramirez, Pedro Martinez. I thought 1992 was a cool set. I mean, let's be honest. Anytime you see a rated rookie card, that's a great set. And then on to the Fleer. So I put Fleer and Donruss in the same binder. And so just like what we did with the Donruss, we'll go into Fleer. So this is my 1981. Don't like 1981 Fleer. If I remember correctly, these packs came with gum until Fleer wasn't allowed to have gum, and then they had to put stickers. But this was the one year that they had gum. I do like the Fernando Valenzuela card. I think that's a great shot of him. And if you're from Los Angeles, he means a lot to the city. But the rest of the set, not a huge fan of it. 1982, same kind of thing. Don't really like the set all that much. Didn't really enjoy opening these packs. But I do think the Dave Stewart rookie and the Cal Ripken rookie are particularly cool cards. So even though I don't like the set, I think those two cards are remarkably cool. Something about Ripken from a distance, I don't know, it's such a I think it's a badly designed set, but the Ripken card, it pops. Great card of the Iron Man. Now, 1983, this is where things get good for Fleer. I love 1983 Fleer, which is funny because it's based on kind of the 1970 tops. They look very, very similar, but this is so far superior to me than the 1970 tops. The Ripken card's great. The Ryan Sandberg, Wade Boggs, Tony Gwynn, those rookie cards, phenomenal. But I also had to put the Frank Viola rookie card in there, and any chance that I don't have extra cards, I'll put a Pete Rose in there. If I don't know what to put in there, I'll put a Ricky Henderson or a Pete Rose to kind of finish it out. But I love 1983 Fleer. I remember wanting to find a Wade Boggs card so bad, and I remember the moments that I pulled that in Vancouver, Canada, and I was just like, all was well in the world because I had found a Wade Boggs rookie card. Now, 84 Fleer, again, 83 was wonderful, 84 even better, because of the Roger Clemens and the Kirby Puckett rookie cards. Everyone loved the Dwight Gooden back in the day. That was actually, originally, that was the card to have, was Dwight Gooden's. But as his career diminished and Clemens and Puckett took off, those became the cards. And I still think that is the great Roger Clemens card. I pulled that out of a sealed 84 Fleer update set that I got back at Cambridge 15 years ago. And I had this set shipped to my dorm room. And I remember sitting there on the edge of my bed in 2009 and finding these cards for the first time, like the Pete Rose and But pulling that Clemens and that Puckett out of that sealed Fleer update set was landmark. I just kind of put it up on my wall, and I just had it there for the next several days, kind of leaned against a book while I just enjoyed working. I was working on papers and essays and such at school, but I had my Kirby Puckett and my Roger Clemens rookie cards for me to look at. Man, that was such a cool room. 85 Fleer. This is probably the best box I ever remember opening, where I got every single card I wanted. And the Puckett card, this exact Puckett and that Clemens, so this was like 2014, and I was working at Nike, and I bought this box, and I remember opening it up at my place, and I was going through the box, getting all the cards, but I couldn't find the Pucketts or the Clemens, and in the very last pack, the very last few cards, both of those cards were in the same pack. And I won't forget that moment. That was one of my favorite collecting moments, was finding both of those in the same pack of the very last pack of the box. I love this set though. It's such a great set. You don't get any duplicates. Every card that you open is it's very easy to put the whole set together off of one box. You don't get the whole set, but it's just perfect to collect. Love that one. 86 Fleer, not a great set. Never really loved this set. You're so focused on the 86 Fleer basketball that everyone always forgets about 86 Fleer baseball. Not a great set, but back in the day, everybody wanted the Canseco. I would have been very excited if I had had that as a kid, but I opened this in 2014, and so wasn't as excited. But the Fleer updates of Barry Bonds, Canseco, and Clark, still, those are great cards. But for me, I would way rather have the 87 Fleer Will Clark. 87 Fleer Will Clark is my favorite Will Clark card. And I remember, even though my whole family is pulling for the Dodgers, and I'm a Dodgers fan today, I remember in 1988 when I went to a baseball game, I was there to go see Will Clark. And so who didn't love Will Clark back in the day? So even though I'm a Dodgers guy and I'm not supposed to like the Giants, man, I thought Will Clark was as rad as it possibly got. Magical card, cool card. Mark McGwire, Bo Jackson, obviously Barry Bonds. And if I remember, you kind of always get the Barry Bonds and the Will Clarks. I pulled both of those out of a single pack. And I was driving out in the desert, and I'd like to say that I opened that pack on the side of the road, but I actually opened those two cards while I was driving in the middle of nowhere. I think it was somewhere out in the Arizona desert, and I found both of those out of a pack. And then I sat in my room after hiking the Grand Canyon, and I pulled all the rest of the cards as I was sitting there in this tiny little dusty, I think it was like a Motel 6 or something. I'd climbed done the whole Grand Canyon hike, and I'd bought a box of this at a card shop in Flagstaff. And I'm sitting there after doing the Grand Canyon with milkshakes, a bunch of candy or whatever. I was just totally indulgent, and I remember opening this box by myself and just having a night of it before I drove off to Los Angeles. So that's what this is. But yeah, also got a great Fred McGriff rookie card. Really nice guy. Got to meet Fred McGriff. I met him in the Bahamas a couple years ago, and super nice guy. He's one of those people, I walk up to him, and it was just before he got inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I walked up to him at this party, and I said, congratulations on your upcoming induction. And he's so humble and just very that's so nice of you. What's your name? Where are you from? And he started asking all these questions about me. And I'm like, no, I'm here to talk about how cool you are. And he was so nice, and his wife was there. We were having dinner. And then he was the one that was like, hey, Brian, do you want to take a picture together? And I've never liked asking people to take photos. I've always felt very uncomfortable asking a celebrity to take a picture. But it was so cool that Fred was like, hey, Brian, let's take a photo together. This would be fun. And so as far as nice and kind baseball players, I love, obviously, Ken Griffey Jr., but Fred McGriff is one of the nicest people I've ever met. Great guy. Just had to call that out. And Mark Grace, that's my favorite Mark Grace card. I do love his 88 Fleer more than the 88 Don Russ. And this one I mean, it made my top 10 list, right? So if you watch my top 10 list, the Mark Grace card and this, I believe, is the glossy version. So I pulled this out of a glossy tin. And so in 1988 Fleer, they not only released the packs as regular boxes, but they had a special collector's tin. And if you open the special collector's tin, you got the glossy version of these cards. Were worth a little bit more, but I do like the glossy cards of 88 Fleer. I love the design. I don't care what anybody says. I love the design of 88 Fleer, and the Edgar Martinez card is the other, is probably the more important card to have in the set, as well as the John Smoltz. But I'm all about the Mark Grace. Cool guy. And his rookie card was in that set, but I prefer the Fleer update. My gosh, that's a cool card. Great design, the color matching, the layout. It's just a perfect card. 1989 Fleer. Opened a bajillion of these cards. The Billy Ripken obviously is the famous card from the set for, various reasons. And cool that Topps this year went and made the Jackson Holiday card as an homage to this with the fun face. But for me, this set, everyone loves that card. For me, this Ken Griffey Jr. and the Randy Johnson, these are the cards from the set that really matter. And that right there is the error card. It has the Marlboro sign that you can see on the card. So that was an error card. That was an error card. Like both of those cards a lot. 1989 Fleer, that's just, man, that takes me right back to playing soccer as a kid. Just playing soccer, coming home, and I'm, I got more stories. Okay, leave it to the side. 1990 Fleer. That was from my original collection. I never really liked this set, but when you're a poor kid in 1990, you take what you can get, and this set I spent a lot of time going through, and don't really love any of the cards from this set. It's just takes me back. In 1991 Fleer, this is probably the most hideous set ever made. I do not like this set. Don't like it at all. I actually thought the Scott Erickson card was the one to have back then because he was on one of my Beckett magazines or whatever. But don't like the set, but I did. But the reason I keep it in here is that I can remember this is a gateway to a bunch of memories. And then, I totally forgot. I put my scorecards in here too. So it's Fleer, Donruss, and Score. And so Score, this is 1988 Score. That's the Mark Grace, also the glossy version, which is the more expensive version. The fancier version is more rare. But 1988 Score, I just like that one card. It does. You still have the Tom Glavine rookie, but for me, it's all about the Mark Grace and the Bijou and the Alomar, but really the Mark Grace. 1989 Score. This was a set that I had a lot of as a kid. Like, we all had 1989 Score. This was like one of those overproduced sets that us, poor kids were able to acquire. And so, I loved the Clemens card, the Grace, and these are the key rookies from that set. Always have good feelings this just makes me happy. When I see 1989 Score, makes me happy. Of course, when I go through my cards, I do not go through them like this when I'm by myself. I might flip through these like every month or so, and I'll flip through them. But it's not like I'm sitting there at the desk always looking at them. So the way I'm talking about these right now, I don't think I've ever really done it like this. I don't go this slow and methodical through it. I might sit there at my desk, maybe once a month I'll kind of, flip through and just, quickly like that. But it's not something I do very regularly. So I haven't actually just looked at the 1989 Score page in a long time. And then, of course, 1990 Score. Everybody loves the Bo Jackson card. For me, the card from the set, my favorite card was actually the Frank Thomas. And getting these in the big yellow kind of sets they used to sell this was probably the most landmark of all these Score sets because of the Frank Thomas and the Bo Jackson. But still, I still remember the feeling of finding the Todd Zale and finding that rookie in the Kevin Moss and thinking that I'd won the lottery. Still, I think they're great shots. And finally, 1991 Score. come on, the American flag. That was the Desert Storm when we went to war. And so that was a card to have. Reminds me of that time period of hearing about the bombings in Iraq. It was a very tense, scary time, but this set was so overproduced. You can still find whole sets of these for like 20 bucks, 10 bucks, 15. But man, there were some great cards. The Dream Team of Griffey, his the All-Star with the big head and the Cooperstown. This set was so much fun to go through because when you didn't have a lot of cash, you get this set. I think they were like, it was such a big set, like 800 or 900 cards. It was just way too big, and it had so many different inserts. But still, when you're a kid, it was fun to go through this set. So I found this I endlessly went through this set as a kid, rearranging them and trying to decide how to put them together. But these are the 9 cards that I decided to kind of keep from this set. That reminds me of that time period. So that's my Fleer, or Donruss, Fleer, and Score sets. And my favorite cards from all those. It's like a time machine in here. And so I got 2 more. We'll go with this next one. Put the Upper Deck rated rookie, that famous Ken Griffey Jr. Rookie badge. Put that on the side. This one is a bit of a mix, I'll be honest. This isn't just Upper Deck. This is a bit of a weird mixture of cards. So I start with 1989 Bowman. That Ken Griffey card, such a great card, special card. These, I don't care what people say, 1989 Bowman is such a great set. Every one of these cards, even though, like, sure, I don't like the sizes of the card. I agree with that. I wish that they had made them the same size as every other card, but I love each card is like the perfect version of that player. You know, that's such a great Bo Jackson, Ken Griffey, Don Mattingly. These are probably my favorite 8 guys to ever collect. Nolan Ryan, Cal Ripken, Mattingly, Bo Jackson, Mark McGuire, Canseco, Grace, and Ken Griffey. So if you said, who did you like to collect? Which players did you like to collect? Those would be the players that I like to collect. And in 1990, so I got my 1990 Bowman set. Frank Thomas, Sammy Sosa were my favorite cards from the set. And then I also have, 91 Bowman. Didn't really like putting this together. Not a really great set in my opinion, but still, you got, Bagwell and Jim Tomey and Ivan Rodriguez. And I got to hang out with Brett Boone once, so that's why I put that in there, is that went and hung out with Brett Boone down in San Diego once, and he was really nice to me. He has his own podcast that he does with a bunch of players, and if you haven't subscribed to it, it's a good podcast worth listening to. Of course, 1992 Bowman. What a landmark set. One of my favorites. Obviously, you have the Hoffman, the Mike Piazza, and the Manny Rivera, and the Manny Riveras, the Ivan Rodriguez. What a great set. Pedro Martinez, Griffey, Thomas. But for me, it's all about Cliff Floyd card. Not only is it such a cool, funny kind of, but I got a chance to go hang out with Cliff Floyd, and he was telling me the story behind this card. And so it's that personal interaction with him as a human and as a player. I really like Cliff. He is such a cool, really down-to-earth, nice guy. And I loved hearing him tell me the story of him dunking a baseball and with the photographer that took that photo, and, doing the Jordan jump, which was so popular at that time period. And so it all kind of comes together that Cliff Floyd card's my favorite from the set, even though obviously most people would say the Piazza is. But so, look at this page. That page just makes me feel good. I love seeing this whole layout of the page. So it's not just about the key individual cards. It's about the kind of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And that's what that page is for me. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I love looking at that page. I actually did this one very recently, like a few months ago. I finally put the 93 Bowman. I wanted to pull the Derek Jeter card out of a box, and so I did that, and it took me 2 boxes to finally find it, but there it is, Derek Jeter's rookie in the Bowman card. And don't really care about too much of the other cards, though the Chipper Jones with the kind of the rainbow foil was kind of cool, and the Griffey Sr. and Jr. is kind of cool, but it's all about the Jeter card. And yeah. 1994 Bowman. I remember going up and hanging out with with Gucci Rips, who many of you might know. And Gucci Rips, such a great guy, Joshua. He and I opened a bunch of packs of this, and he found the Jorge Posada rookie card, which went into a mint case as a test case to actually, I went and showed that to Jorge Posada. So this set for me, even though the Jeter card's cool and some of the others are great, it's all about remembering my time with Jorge Posada, hanging out with him, and opening packs with Gucci Rips, which if you guys don't follow him, you should follow him. And then it jumps way ahead to 2001 Bowman. This was I just wanted to pull the Albert Pujols out of a pack. Maybe a bunch of you saw when I was at a Cardinals game with my buddy Dale, and Dale found, I had one blaster box, and Dale found the Albert Pujols out of a pack, but of course, because he found it, he gets to keep it, right? And so I wanted to have one for my own collection, so I went and bought another couple blaster boxes later, and it ended up taking me 2 boxes, and I found in the very last card of the, like literally, very last pack, very last card, I found the Albert, and that was the thing, is I bought 2 blasters, and I'm opening them all, and I'm going through them, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have to buy a 3rd blaster box to find the Albert Pujols. And in the very last card of the very last blaster box, that was that exact card. And then I went and picked up the Ichiro card, because I just, it's his rookie card. So then we get into, those are kind of my Bowman cards, but now we get into the Upper Deck. Those are my 9 favorite cards out of the 1989 Upper Deck set. This one is very special because it's the Dale Murphy reverse negative. And if you remember back in the day in 89, 90, everyone wanted this Dale Murphy reverse negative. It was such a rare card. Nobody had it, and everybody wanted it. And I love, of course, the 3D card of Nolan Ryan, and there's Nolan Ryan throwing a football, which took forever, of course, to find. Of course, Ken Griffey Jr. I've opened so many packs of 89 Upper Deck, and never gets old finding Griffey out of a pack. Mark McGwire, this and the Ramon Martinez were out of my original collection. That's why they get the red star. This is the one that my mother kept for a lot of years, and Ramon Martinez, I remember really wanting this card when I was a kid, and I traded my buddy Morty for it, and so that's from that. But perfect set. 1989 Upper Deck. I always wonder which set I like more, between 89 Upper Deck or 1990 Leaf, but it's pretty much tied for me. I love 1989 Upper Deck. 1990 Upper Deck. This set, so I couldn't open 89 as a kid, but I could open 1990, and that's my 1990 Upper Deck Dave Justice, my original one that I had, and that's such a special card to me. What's kind of interesting there is that's the Ben McDonald error card that also in 1990 everyone was chasing. It was supposed to come with this rookie badge, but instead they accidentally printed the Orioles badge. So this was a must-have error card back in the day. And so when I was putting this collection together, I went and made sure I tracked down an error card of the Ben McDonald. But that Kevin Maas was my original one. I remember riding my bike to a shop called Pegasus in Beaverton and buying a couple packs and then stopping on the side of the road with my bike and opening that Kevin Maas card. And I just remember, I felt like Charlie Bucket from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when I found this Kevin Maas card. That's what I felt like. It was like a mini celebration as like a 9 or 10-year-old on the side of the road. Actually, yeah. Okay. Other memories just popped in my head, but I'll let those go. 1991 Upper Deck. When I first got back into collecting at 30, I was also quite broke. I didn't have any cash, and I bought a couple boxes of this I found a shop in Vancouver, Canada, where I was living, and this random shop had like 2 or 3 boxes, and I bought them all and took them back to my grandmother's house where I was staying, and I remember finding this Michael Jordan card, that exact one, and feeling pretty special about it, and finding Chipper Jones. I actually found a bunch of Chippers, a bunch of Jeff Bagwells, and I used those at card shops to trade for other cards that I was missing. So great set, great players. And of course the Hank Aaron special card, the short print. I know I've told that story many times, but great card. 1992 Upper Deck. Opened this one just a few years ago in West Hollywood because I was looking for the Derek Jeter. Me and my friends Colin and Sam, we were all like ripping through tons of packs trying to see who could find the Derek Jeter card first, and that's a fun day. So that's the card from that time period. 93. I wanted that Derek Jeter card, so I bought the whole box just to find that card. It took me one box to find him, but I also like, of course, the 89 Upper Deck Griffey in kind of that black border. But the Derek Jeter card is my favorite card from that set. It's just, man, the cards were so bricked that it was amazing that card is in as good of condition as it is. And then I've only opened up a few packs of probably 3, I think, of Topps Finest 1993, but I ended up getting this Nolan Ryan and the Ken Griffey and the Frank Thomas. So that was a very lucky 3 or 4 packs. I think it was 4 packs that I opened. Sadly, not the refractors. This was the first year that Topps started doing refractors. This was the birth of the refractor, but I do not have any of the Topps Finest. I would love to own refractors of those 3 cards, maybe someday. Kind of a low priority target, but 1993 SP. That's about that set. I opened so many packs of this as I drove with Sam from Los Angeles to Key West, all the way up to New York City, and then back all the way across to California. If you haven't ever watched it on YouTube, I have the entire edit that Sam put together of our whole trip across the country. But finding the Derek Jeter rookie card was a real highlight. Pulling that in Washington, D.C. while I was looking at the Washington Monument and the White House. This is actually not that card. I ended up giving that card, I put it in a mint case and then gave that card to Derek Jeter and his buddy Mike Evans, and the two of them have that the mint case with the Derek Jeter card that I pulled on that trip. So that was a replacement that I found. It's funny, I opened like 3 boxes and finally found it took 3 boxes to finally find the Derek Jeter card. And then in one of the later packs of that final box, I ended up getting a second Jeter. So there you go. And of course, Chipper Jones, pulled that in Nashville, Tennessee. And I remember pulling the Griffey from the top of the Empire State Building. Just such a beautiful set. I love the colors on this set. 93 SP turned out to be one of my favorite sets. It's just, man, those cards brick so easily with each other. But this set brings a lot of happy memories. And on the very same road trip, I did the 2011 Topps update. And you see my Mike Trout card is missing because that's currently in a mint case. And so I don't have that card in here. It's in the mint case. That's the card I pulled from ZZ Top. And then I went and just picked up this Freddie Freeman rookie to kind of round it out. But I like the Altuve rookie card. And so these are all cards I pretty much pulled across the United States and pulled, like, for instance, the Charlie Blackmon, found that in Palm Springs. And then my favorite set of all time, like I said, I'm not sure if it's 89 Upper Deck or 1990 Leaf. But this is my favorite 9 cards from 1990 Leaf. And because I love Leaf so much, it's the only set that I have 2 pages. I actually have 2 pages because these cards are all great. In fact, that's the Ken Griffey Jr. preview card. And so it's this is a far more expensive, far more rare version of the card. And but this page is just perfection to me. As far as baseball cards go, this page is perfection. And but I have a second page in there because there's a couple of them that are from my childhood collection. And so because I wanted to involve these cards in my binder, I put in some of the other cards from the set that I also think are pretty rad. Yeah, man, those cards make me happy. 1990 Leaf and 1989 Upper Deck are definitely my favorite 2 sets of all time. 1991 Leaf. This set does not matter to a lot of people. It matters to me because that was the summer opening packs with my cousins in Vancouver, where we would go and spray paint house numbers on curbs to save enough money to go run down to the card shop that's no longer there. And that's the Todd Van Poppel card that I accidentally sat on, chipped it off, and that's from my original collection. That Todd Van Poppel card matters a lot to me. That's, even though it's absolutely useless and worthless, even in perfect condition, that broken version of it matters so much to me. Love that card. The Todd Van Poppel 1991 with all its chips and it's broken and my filling it in with a gold pen. That's a special card. And then Bagwell, love that card from the set. 1992 Leaf. Not a great set, but brings some memories. Nothing stand out, but that was a fun set to build. Whereas 1991 Fleer Ultra, I love this set. I know it's super overprinted, but that Dave Justice and that Frank Thomas and finding these gold cards, it's, yeah, I really like the 91 Fleer update, and I could open a lot more packs of this. 1991 Stadium Club. This was such a unique set when it came out because it had such great photography, and it was actually pricey and expensive. My favorite cards are the Nolan Ryan because he's wearing a tuxedo, and something about that Sammy Sosa card was I always thought was really great. And then getting the Manny Ramirez, you could only get that out of like the special kind of update dome set, so that's a bit more of a hard card to come across these days. But yeah, great set. Griffey, of course, is a great card from there. And then the 1991 Studio. This was a fun set to put together. I think a couple of these are from the preview set, like the Roger Clemens and I think the Dave Justice. Really fun, interesting, quirky set. And I don't know if any of you ever collected classic cards, but this was actually a game that people would play. And the key card from that whole time period was the Bo Jackson. That's the 1987 Bo Jackson Classic card. That actually is a bit more of a rare card and hard to find in good condition. But the only one that I actually had from back in the day was the Ken Griffey Jr. I just thought the purples on that card were pretty special. And so I wanted to put one page together in the binders to kind of pay homage to classic cards. But I don't know how many people collect classic, but that's my one page of classic. And then I have my Topps Chrome cards. So Topps Chrome, pulled these all out of packs. Pulled the Bo Bichette. Funny enough, if anybody remembers, in 2022, Topps had messed up and they forgot to put in, so the silver packs were released after the boxes came out. And so I got myself a silver pack of Topps Chrome 2022 and found this card that's actually from a couple years before. So that was fun to find the Bo Bichette autograph rookie refractor. 2022, I really loved. This was actually the first set of kind of modern cards that I really went crazy on and had to have and opened a ton of them. And so I pulled these logo fractor cards like the Cedric Mullins. I found this kind of variation of the Shohei Ohtani card. I remember being at Topps headquarters in New York when I pulled the Aaron Judge sepia card. This was a fun, happy summer in New York of opening these packs, sitting in my room at my hotel, and this is a happy page for me. And then 2023, these are the 2023 cards that I pulled out of packs. Shohei Ohtani was a great moment. These are out of the logo fractors. I really love the logo fractor cards, and just such well-designed cards. I remember sitting in my car, pulled over on the side of the road, and found the Bobby Witt Jr. gold autograph card. That was a fun moment. Got probably too happy about that because, it's so rare to pull a good card like that out of a pack of Topps. And then I pulled the Jordan Walker. This is his variation card out of a logo fractor pack. And obviously Cisco Alvarez, that's his auto that I pulled. That was a good day. And here are my Topps 2024s. I only think I opened like 2 or 3 packs myself, and this is pretty much all I got. So not a, let's see. And then I kind of goes into a few more kinds of, these are special cards that were given to me by people. And no point in going into all those, but these are my, I think these were called Topps Big. And so when you're a kid, these are pretty much all, you couldn't afford a lot, but you could afford to buy these. These were easy to come across, and so yeah, that's those are my cards from. Wait, actually, there are some cool ones in here. I'll take that back. I remember finding this. This is kind of like a Topps throwback logo card, and a friend gave me this Will Clark guy I went to college with, and yeah, opened this out of a pack from a friend of mine in England. So there's a few fun ones, but this is kind of just my hodgepodge random collection of cards from different time periods, different sets, but that's a fun one for me to periodically go through. And then finally, my very final binder is my Bowman Chrome binder. And this one has been such fun to put together. It's been expensive to put together, but it's been fun. So these are some of my, so I've really gotten, only in the last 3 years did I finally start collecting modern cards. And so I would pick the top kind of 9 cards out of a set, and I would either pull them out of packs or I would buy them, the old-fashioned way of going to eBay. So I pulled every one of these out of a pack. I remember being pretty pleased when I found that Bryce Harper. This is 2011 Bowman Chrome. And so pulled all of these out of packs, and would love to open more. Same goes with 2012. These are all out of the pack. I only bought 1 box of these, and so, these are the best cards I pulled, so that's why they go in here. But I'm hoping to, pick up like Yu Darvish rookie auto and, get the Corey Seager auto refractor at some point. But this will be a work in progress binder for a long time. These are my 2013s. Obviously, I would love to have the Aaron Judge auto refractor in there. I don't have it. But that would be the card from this set that I would really like to have. But I opened 1 box. These are the cards I got. And so these are the cards that go in there as placeholders until I can kind of upgrade. So as I get more cards, I can kind of upgrade. I'll take this one out, put another one in. I used to live down the street from Matt Kemp, and so that's why he gets to go in there. You'd actually, at nights, you could see parties going on at his house after Dodger games. These are my 2014s. I've opened several boxes of these, and the highlight, of course, was getting the Trey Turner auto refractor. Wow, that was a great moment, lucky moment, and also, getting the Mookie Betts first Bowman Chrome card. Always love that card. It's a great card, a great player, but obviously the Trey Turner auto refractor was the one for me to get. And going into 2015, so I really like 2014. I do not like 2015 Bowman Chrome. Never liked it, probably never will. Kyle Tucker, I think, is the card to have in this set. But, I would like to have the Topps the Bowman Chrome auto refractor of Kyle Tucker. But I do have the Cody Bellinger. I didn't pull that out of the pack. I bought that one. I cheated and bought that one. But most of the rest of these I pulled out of packs. 2016, my Bowman Chrome, my Juan Soto auto refractor that I bought is currently in a mint case. These are pretty much all. I pulled the Kyle Schwarber and the Corey Seager, but all the rest of these and the Tatis, but the rest of these I bought. I bought the Pete Alonso, the Alec Bergman, and the Trey Turner gold refractor auto. I just thought this was such a cool card. I wanted to have this on my 9 pages, and then the Juan Soto will go there. And at some point, I would like to get a Tatis auto refractor as well. But that is not today. There's priorities in life, and that is not a priority. These are my 2017s. Got opened 1 box of these and got the Ronald Acuna, Cody Bellinger, and the Aaron Judge. And then got those out of the Bowman, but then I've opened many boxes of Bowman Chrome, probably 6 boxes, and the kind of highlights from that were finding the Tomas Nido red refractor out of 5, and this variation card of Andrew, which I think is a pretty cool card, getting Gatorade poured on him. But that was my first variation card, and I was very confused when I first pulled it because it felt different than the other cards, and it wasn't until later that I learned that's a variation card. and then pulled the Alex Bergman rookie card, purple refractor. And I really like watching Brandon Marsh, and so I had to put his first Bowman Chrome card, or first Bowman card. I just think he's a great player, fun to watch. Now, I'm very happy about these 2018 Bowman Chromes. I love Bowman Chrome 2018, without question my favorite set. And I went and put together, I pulled the Jordan Alvarez auto refractor. I pulled that one out of a pack. So that was a very cool moment, but I purchased the Luis Robert, and after seeing the Rangers win the World Series, I went and picked up the Adolis Garcia auto refractor because it was so fun seeing him in the World Series just destroy. He just dominated. It was so great. And I do like the Ronald Acuna. This is his rookie autograph card. Of course, the Jake Ring card, that was the first autograph card I ever pulled. It was at the Hot Air Balloons in New Mexico. And so it kind of reminds me of that trip, and pulling the Keston auto kind of Bowman Sterling card, pulled that on the Navajo Reservation in Monument Valley. So it kind of reminds me of that time period as well. So those are my favorites. And hope to eventually have the auto refractors of, I used to have the auto refractor of Shohei Ohtani, and I'm hoping to get one again. 2019, Bowman Chromes and Bowman. I've pulled, let me check, I've pulled, all of those out of packs. And my favorite one though out of this was I pulled a Pete Alonso blue out of 150, his rookie card, and I was in Vegas a few years ago, and the guy who helped me with my luggage, my bags, my hotel, everything that happened at the hotel, I didn't have any cash with me, and we were talking, and he was asking what I do, and I told him about my company that I was building. And I said, do you like baseball cards? He's like a huge baseball card fan. And so I said, well, I can either go down to the lobby and hit up the ATM and get you some cash, or I'm going to give you this, the refractor, the blue refractor to 150 of Pete Alonso. And so he's like, dude, I want that blue refractor. So I tipped him in Vegas with Pete Alonso. And even though I gave that to him, I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy another one of them so I can put it in my collection because I want to remember that experience. And also I just wanted to have that card because I did think it was pretty cool. So love 2019 Bowman and Bowman Chrome. Great cards, great set. Fun to put together. 2020, I've never really been a big fan of 2020 Bowman Chrome. I did pull his refractor, but aside from that, even though there's like Volpe and Witt Jr. and Jordan Walker and Torkelson, some big names, I just never really got into it. And I wanted to get into it, but I just haven't got into it. 2021, same kind of thing. Didn't really like 2021 Bowman Chrome. I did pick up some packs and got a Carlos Caminera's auto refractor diamond. So that was pretty cool. And I did pull this orange one. But aside from that, not really excited about this set. This is one of those pages that I flip through really quickly when I go through it. Whereas 2022 Bowman Chrome, phenomenal set. I have happy memories of opening this one and pulling these cards. Like pulled this Jaron Duran auto refractor atomic card out of 100. I pulled this card, bought the Colson Montgomery, and this was love this page. And then my Ellie De La Cruz auto refractor is currently sitting in a hobby case, but that's his, the Mojo version. Great set. Jackson Holiday, of course. Excuse me. 2023 Bowman Chrome. Man, as soon as I see this set, it takes me right back to being at Cooperstown in New York City, sitting there at a restaurant overlooking a lake and opening packs of this and getting like I got most of this out of packs. The only one I didn't. So I pulled this out of a Sapphire. Actually, I pulled everything on here except for the Drew Jones. I went and bought that one because it's kind of just, and that's the thing, is a rookie doesn't have to do well. Like you saw, I have Todd Van Poppel, I have Kevin Maas. I have a lot of those players that didn't perform up to the levels, but I still like having their rookies because they were special at that time. So a page that I put together might not Drew Jones might not be what everyone hopes or wishes he was, but that card was the card to pull in 2023. Him and Ethan Salas. These were the two cards that everybody really wanted. And so wanting this and going after this and getting this card, it's that I actually enjoy the whole process of having a card of a player that was the big chase card at the time. I feel, I fall victim to the marketing of Topps and Bowman, and I just wanted to get that card. But I think the favorite one that I pulled that I was actually happy about was that Ellie De La Cruz out of gold out of 50. That was a fun one. That was a great moment to pull that out of the pack. And then my 2024s. I think I showed you guys this briefly the other day. One box, pulled all of these. The Dylan Cruz, that's the base auto, but very pleased about finding that and finding this Luis Angel Acuna Gladiators red refractor and the Jackson Chorio anime card. It was just one of those days. I don't think I'd ever opened a box like this where just it all came together and found all the cards that you see right here. But it was one of those magical, great moments. But those are all my Bowman Chromes. And so that's it. I have some other cards scattered around, like on the mint case and, my mint cards. And I plan on putting a lot more of my cards into mint cases as I go along. But that's it. That's the core of my collection. That was a very long story. I am going to have to go for a walk after this because I do not usually talk for this long. I talk a lot, but not this long. And but these cards, they make me happy. I don't even know why. It's hard to explain. Maybe it's the Americana. Maybe it's the history. Maybe it's the graphic design or the specialness, that gambling aspect of finding a card, out of 50 or out of 10 or an auto refractor and getting that dopamine or serotonin hit from it. Maybe it's that the cards remind me of different times. Maybe it reminds me of my friends. Maybe it reminds me of my family or different places I've lived, because I've lived all over the world. I've lived in so many places, and so I haven't had this continuity through my life. I didn't grow up in one home and stay there until I was 18 and then move somewhere else for the rest of my life. It was that I've lived in 8 different countries. I've lived in many different states, probably 10 different states, and I've moved so many times. I've been on the road so much, and the last 3 years I've spent 570 nights now in hotels. And so I think I've always searched for those kinds of common threads to kind of link my life. That's why I keep a journal. That's why I keep my photograph library of my whole life so organized, is because I have to kind of keep it all together and be able to organize it and kind of have clarity on what my life has been like and where I've lived and where I've been and who I've interacted with. I've met so many incredible people in my life across so much that I think why I love cards is that there's the collecting angle, there's the therapeutic element to it, but at the end of the day, it's this one of those few constant threads that have been throughout my vast majority of my life. And so I don't know why I enjoy this as much as I do. I don't know why I collect some of the cards I collect. Sometimes I find it kind of almost embarrassing that I've been into it for so many years and I like it so much. I kept it so solitary. I never talked about this with anyone. This is the first time I've gone through my whole collection before and talked about it with you guys. But it's been a source of I don't know, it's been little hits of joy during challenging times. My 30s were incredibly bad and hard and challenging, and yet collecting cards was it was one of those things where I would do it on the side. If I was having a rough day, I would go to the card shop as a way to kind of boost myself back up. I don't know, it's a strange thing. I don't even know everything about all these players. It's not always just about the players in the sports. There is that element. I mean, I do love watching the World Series and seeing Adolis Garcia, he's in all these home runs, or Corey Seager, let me go buy their rookie cards. And there is that element to it, but it's more than that. And so thank you for letting me share this with you. If you want to, I'm totally down to answer any questions. I I plan on expanding this collection over time and upgrading it as I go along, or making little changes here and there. I'm sure that my company Mint will, we have plans to rebuild binders and to have a better way to store and display your cards through binders. And obviously we have our cases, our wall displays, our hobby frames. And so I think that cards will be a part of life going forward. Obviously I can't just kind of go and rebuild all these, and so I'm probably done ever opening 1980s packs aside from doing quests. But this has been a source of happiness, and I would love to hear you guys' comments and thoughts, questions, and would love to hear about what you collect or how you collect. But this is how I collect: 9 cards in a binder from every set, and that's my collection. Thank you so much for the few of you who watched this whole thing, and hope you all have a great day, and look forward to making more content for you guys as I go along.